Hi, BookTube. Welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and it's time for some literary ramblings. Okay, so, as of right now, what's going on is I'm currently in the middle of, where did I put it? I just had it. Where, did I leave it over there? Yes, I did. Um, Sorry about that. I thought I brought it over here, but I'm currently finally start to read this again. Valor, the sequel to Malice. And of course I'm really enjoying it. I still don't know which characters I love best. There are characters though that are very intriguing. And I still hold on to what I thought before about a certain character, thinking, he is the chosen good guy, the chosen hero. I don't think he is that character. They have this whole prophecy about the someone is going to represent the I still do not remember this. And I talked to you guys about this before, but I still don't remember the falling star or something. A bright star. I knew it was star something. The bright star and the black sun. One of the characters is the hero, the bright star, and then the other character is the black sun, who's the villain. Who's supposed to be the villain of this prophesized war that's coming. And there's one character who assumes that, oh, I'm the bright star, I must be, and he points out some evidence to prove it, but it's very weak. And as I said last time, I feel like that will be too easy and too convenient for him. I mean, as soon as a character assumes, if a character assumes that they are this role, then it's gonna make you, because usually that person doesn't know that they are the bright star. If they know that they are the bright star, the hero role, then it's like it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't feel right, like, if they can figure it out right away. I mean, I guess because if they assume that, oh, I'm the hero, I'm the bright star, then it means that they're not very humble, and heroes are supposed to be humble and are supposed to be genuine people, and they really care, and they're not just doing it for glory or because they think that they're meant to be the hero, or they think they're destined to be the hero, or they're meant to be. And this guy definitely has a bit of an ego, but he is a very interesting character. Very, and I almost wonder if this particular character is gonna be like complete opposite, where he is part of the prophecy, but maybe he's the bad guy, the black sun, which I think will be really, really kind of funny actually if it turns out this whole time he was like thinking, oh, I'm the bright star, I'm the bright star, I'm the hero, but then he's actually the bad guy. But then again, it could also be one of these things where he made himself, like, because he assumed he was the bright star. He could very well make himself the black sun because he was trying so hard to be the bright star, like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like saying, like, maybe, yeah, you say this, but how do you know you didn't make it happen? Like, you said, it was prophesized, but then how do you know that because you believe that, then maybe the only reason it came to pass is because you believed it would come to pass. So, like a self-fulfilling prophecy. All the characters are basically separated, and when I read these kinds of epic fantasies with kids, where there are kids in the story, and it's not like a young adult, I always forget their ages. Like, with a young adult, it's meant the target audience is teenagers, so you can safely assume that the main characters are all going to be teenagers. But when it's like an adult fantasy with kid characters, I always forget. It was the same thing with Game of Thrones, like the Song of Ice and Fire series. I forgot how young the kids were, especially because they were played by much older actors in the TV show, which makes sense because they didn't want to, some of the things that those kids go through, the kid characters in the series go through in the books. I don't think the parents of kid actors would be okay with. Like, they had to be at least, like, I think some of the kid actors had to probably be, like, 16 or 17. Maybe they can go a little bit younger. Actually, no, I think they did, because I think Maisie Williams was, like, probably 12 or 13 when she started the show. While in the book, she's supposed to be, like, 8 or 9 in the first book. Like, the Stark siblings are really young. And it's, I forgot that. Especially watching the show, you forget how young they really are. And then this one, I didn't realize how old. I had forgot that the two kid characters, Corbin and Cywin, I did not realize how it was the opposite, where I thought I assumed they were a little bit younger, but actually they're, like, Cywin, the girl, I just found out she's actually 18 in the book. So she's, like, just out of her teen year, out of her childhood and going into legal adulthood anyway. And she's my girl, I just love that. She basically was talking back to all these, Nether needed information, King Nether needed information from her, and Evanus, who is partly responsible for what happened to her brother and her father in the book, she basically gives him crap, even though she's in front of the king, and is like, they're Evanus. I definitely understand why there are people that don't read fantasy regularly, have a hard time, like, get annoyed by the names, or mock them, or just, like, it's too hard to pronounce. Because unless it's, like, at least, like, with Harry Potter, a lot of the characters' names were, like, names you would recognize in the real world. And you could potentially have an easier time figuring out how to pronounce them. I mean, some of them might have been, like, Irish names, or, like, Bulgarian names or something, but they're familiar. They're familiar names. While, like, in this, a lot of these names seem made up. Now, I don't know, I'm assuming that this has a little bit of Scandinavian-ness to it in, Viking. So I don't know if the names came from that, but anyway, yeah, she gives both Evanus and the King Nether a lot. She's like, no, I'm not, I may be a kid to you, but you ruined my life. You took my family from me. You're partially to blame for this, and I'm not gonna be your cooperative little puppet or little dove. I'm not gonna easily be, pushed on. I don't care if you're a king or a knight or a soldier or some lord. You gotta give her props for standing up for herself, and especially in this kind of world. But lucky for her, King Nether kind of needs her for something, so it's definitely very interesting, and, like, it's the aftermath of the big epic battle that happens in the last book. So it's kind of all the characters are recovering and trying to figure out how they're going to deal with their current situation. Like, they're figuring out who are their allies, who do they have to worry about, who's going to get revenge on who, all that good juicy stuff. And I'm actually participating. I'm going to attempt another readathon, the 'Tis the Season readathon, hosted by Heather from Bookables. I think she's the main host. I don't know. But I'm going to see if I can kind of fit this in here, although I doubt I'm going to finish it anyway. Because unfortunately, 'Tis the Season is only a week long. I wish it was the whole month of December, or at least the first part, at least up until Christmas. But nope, I think it's starting, today is the 30th, the 29th, so starting tomorrow, Although when you guys watch this video, it might be officially that it might be the 30th. So, but I'm gonna try it. But again, I think part of the problem is I don't have a Twitter. I have an Instagram, but I'm not super active on it. But I don't have a Twitter. I don't use Tumblr. I just have a Facebook, so I'm very, outdated as far as social networks. But I don't want to get involved in Twitter. Like I said, the only temptation to get involved in Twitter is like a lot of readathons are connected to the booktube people use Twitter a lot oftentimes, and there are some actors that I would love to interact with on Twitter. I would love, and like, although really even then it's not much different, and it probably is better going to conventions than Twitter. And Twitter is it's like getting lost in going down a rabbit hole with Twitter, with all the drama and all the craziness. I mean, I went through that. It wasn't as bad as Twitter. It's probably not as bad as Twitter, but I went through that. A similar thing when, with Once Upon a Time when it first started, all the drama with that, and people are, fans, we can get pretty ugly and pull hair and claw each other's eyes out and get nasty with each other. But anyway, I'm gonna read a little bit. I'm probably gonna read a little bit more this evening. I love the covers. How each of them are different. Each cover is a different color. Like Malice was white. I also like how you can't tell at first glance, but how like right here at the bottom there's soldiers. When I first look at it, I couldn't tell, but then when now having the book and looking really closely, you can see there's soldiers right there at the bottom. And this one, the first one was white with shades of red, and then this one is like greenish yellow color. And I don't remember what the other ones are. I have to look at the other ones. I think Ruin is like gray and silver, I want to say. One of them is like gray and silver color. But anyway. But yeah, I will talk to you guys a little bit more about 'Tis the Season-a-thon a little bit later in this video. But this is a really great series. It's really fun. And then, Mr. Snowman, one of my Christmas decor. My mom gave me this. See? I should probably put him on the, nope, he's too tall. I've been really, I've been craving some, first of all, I want to get, next year, my plan is in 2021, to be the year of big books. I'll still read the ones that I can get through a little bit quicker, but I'm also I want to focus more on the bigger books and getting big books finished, like chunky books done. And I've been kind of on a weird kick with, historical fiction lately. I attempted to read The People of the Book. I don't remember who the author's name is, but it's based on a true story. But I ended up deciding I'm not going to pursue it. I read a little bit of it, but then I was like, I'm not feeling this. I don't know if I will, and of course I ended up looking at reading reviews on Goodreads, and I just decided I wasn't interested anymore. When these things are, I bought it at the Roast Office Bookshop, and I've been feeling lately I need to get to some of the books I bought from there and, read those. But, I also have this bad habit of, I buy them and then they sit on my shelf forever, and I know there are a lot of booktubers that have the same problem. And there's also books that, I end up deciding, I'm not interested anymore, what happened with this book. Although I haven't had that one for that long, but still, anyway. So I ended up deciding some reading, dipping my toes into some of the recent purchases other than that one. So I recently bought the story which you guys saw on one of my videos. And again, as I said in the last video, I was not, when I talked about this last, I did not realize that this is actually this is kind of about Dracula. Like, this girl and her father, and she discovers a book in her father's collection, a very rare book with a dragon on it, and her father tells her the story about him and his mentor talking about his experiences. And I want to say it was Dubrovnik. I want to say he mentioned that, but I might be thinking about that Dubrovnik because people of the book, and how he found something that led him to believe that Dracula might be alive. So he tells her father about it, and her father tells her in turn, and I think something, I haven't got to that part, but I think in the description, something had mentioned something happening to her father, and now she's trying to figure out what happened to him. So I thought it was kind of cool that it's like, I love, historical fiction like this where you're trying to mix, first of all, I love the historical fiction where you mix fantasy, but I also love the idea of something that we're not sure if it's true, bringing it to life, like implying that maybe it is true. But the reason, no one knows 100% sure is it's better not, maybe at the end of the day, it's better not to know. That's why I enjoyed Dan Brown's books, at least some of them anyway. I haven't read all of them, but like Origin and The Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons. And I've seen bits and pieces of Inferno, and I think that's also the same kind of thing, like something from history that is considered, like, people don't know for sure if it's based on fact or anything like that. But I don't like Dante's. It references Dante's Inferno, which I now have, and I can read it now. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to comprehend it, but and the idea of it being, and I think someone's trying to kill people using Dante's Inferno, the 7 circles of hell, to for all these people dying. But I've never watched the whole movie. I would like to watch it at some point. But so, and I really enjoy the writing. The writing's very rich, and just I would love to go on some kind of adventure like this. I mean, I would be terrified, and I don't know how good I would be at this kind of stuff, but I would love to go on this kind of adventure. I think that's why I like reading these kinds of historical fiction. And originally, I was kind of interested in, the people of the book was kind of, like that, but it just got a little too sciencey. And, and as another review pointed out, the main character was kind of annoying. She was very arrogant and was very hard on other people. And I'm fine with dislikable characters, but I just, it depends on the story for me. But I am on chapter 6, which is not really that short, but I was falling asleep, and plus I had to get up at 5:30 this morning, and surprisingly I'm actually feeling pretty good. I mean, I'm sure I'm tired, but I'm actually okay, Yeah, my ankles are achy a little bit because of all the being on my feet for 5 hours from 7 to 1, or 5:30 to 1, I should say, because I got up at my dad was offering, which that's the frustrating thing, is that he, it was like he was offering to take me to work, and he didn't want my mom to have to get up. He wanted my mom to get a chance to sleep in, but at the same time, I was like, I don't want to, I do not like getting up before the sun is up. Like, I am not that, I'm not that person. I did that for 2 summers in a row, and I'm not doing it again. but I did it today. So I mean, I'm also the kind of person that if you tell me to get up, I'm gonna I'll do it. Like as long as I set my alarm and stuff, I'll get up because. But yeah, so I'm on chapter 6. The only problem is so far, the only criticism is it gets to the point where like when the father is telling the daughter the story, I forget. I struggle with separating the fact that who is this the girl's father telling her, or is this his mentor, Professor Darcy? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Is that him telling his story? I get a little confused at times. I mean, I do eventually figure it out, but yeah, I gotta admit it can be a little confusing at times. But yeah, this came out in the early 2000s. And I think we're about to learn in the next chapter. We're about to learn what happened to Darcy after he told our our main characters. Let me see if I can find her name. It does not say her name, I don't think. But anyway, our main character, when the father's telling our main character the story of his mentor and what happened to him. So, and I don't know if I can apply this to Tis the Season-a-thon, but I don't like. I'm gonna try, but then I keep thinking about all the books I want to read. I also started reading The Physician by Noah Gordon. This is another one, the one I purchased. Well, actually, I think I purchased the historian first, and then during my next time I came was when I got this one, along with 2 other books. But The Physician, which it's funny that I mean, like it was one of these things where like I probably realized it. I just didn't think about it. That this one and people of the book have to do with the Jewish culture and population, the Jewish people. Like our main character in this one is a Jewish, and he becomes a physician as an adult for his profession, and he ends up going to, according to the back description, and he's British, he's from London. Rob Cole's his name. He goes to Persia. He goes to Persia to study there to become a physician. Oh no, he's not Jewish. He's Christian, but he realizes but the Christians are barred from the schools, so he claims he's a Jew. That's right. Because Christians and Muslims, I guess, didn't really get along back then. I don't know historically if they get along now. Of course, I probably not, because I think most religions don't really get along. I mean, individual people, yeah, but religious, people in different religions, generally, I do not think they get along. But I don't know, I was just in the mood for something. I was just kind of intrigued by it. Like, normally, this is something I normally wouldn't pick up, but I feel like, even though I feel like I wish the Roast Office had more variety in the books that they have. Because as I've said before, it's whatever, they take donated books, except for right now, the pandemic, they're not taking donations because your germs all over your books, so they don't want to. You want to be careful about spreading germs and stuff because with people getting sick with this whole pandemic and everything. But just Anyway, so right now they're not taking donations, but normally they take donations. So the books that they have at their shop are consist of whatever the people here like, whatever the people here have in their library. So it's not a lot of, I've never found a Sarah J. Maas there, but I might fix that in the future. It will depend on where that bag goes first. Because either I donate to Black Castle Bookshop or the Roast Office Bookshop. But despite that, it doesn't have a lot, and unfortunately, I never have luck. I have not had a lot of luck with Stephen King lately. Being there, like, there's only one book by Stephen King there, and at the moment, it's just not catching my eye right now. It's not catching my interest, but it does allow me to consider other types of books. Like, this is normally a book I wouldn't get, but it sounded interesting, and it was the only option. There's not a lot of. I mean, it's not, there's a pretty good amount of options, but it's like not necessarily stuff I would normally get, and so I get really picky. But I liked it, and so far I'm liking it. It's definitely really interesting to see this Robert Cole's family. He lost both his parents. Their parents died, and him and all he and all his siblings got all separated because they couldn't take care of themselves, and he was underage, being the oldest. So they all got separated and went to different families, and now he's apprenticed to a barber surgeon, which I still don't know what kind of surgeon that is. I don't understand it. But we get a little backstory about the guy who took him on as apprentice and who's kind of giving him a home. We get his backstory. And I remember reading one of the reviews when I was deciding if I was going to get this book. Talks about juggling. And I just got that. I don't know if there's going to be more, because it sounded like there was going to be a whole, kind of like how Tolkien took 2 pages to describe a tree. Like, kind of like that type of situation where this author takes a few pages to describe juggling, and that might still be coming up. Like, because it was just kind of mentioned in passing that this guy learned to juggle. But it's a movie. I'll have to look up the movie. Maybe because maybe it's an indie film. I'll have to look it up. But so far I'm liking it. The other ones I got, I think I got one more, but I'm not sure. The other ones I got maybe I only got 3, but I thought I got 4 movies. I mean not movies. I mean 4 books. Maybe maybe I did get the story, and then I didn't think I did, but I have to look. I should double check. But yeah, the other books I got are. Because I think I got another. Oh yes, I did get another one. That's right. First I got. So this is Book Alma's favorite nonfiction book, one of her favorites, and I saw it and I just decided, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna check this book out. I'm gonna get it, and that's H is for Hawk. And from what I know, it is a winner of the Samuel Johnson Prize in Costa Book of the Year and New York Times bestseller. This is a memoir about a woman who raises a hawk, I believe, and takes care of it and brings it back to good health. I think. I'm not 100% sure on that. I know that it's about her raising a hawk or something. And I like birds. I also like, but I think this won't be too much because first of all, it's not that chunky, and it's not that chunky, and it's a memoir, and I feel like with memoirs, those are some of the more easier forms of nonfiction to get into because they're not as challenging as big biographies and and they're a lot more personal and more interesting unless you're just, not interested in the person. But of course, why would you read that book unless you were interested in that person? And I debate about reading it for Nonfiction November, but it's 2 more days, and I'm not gonna get this done in 2 days. I mean, maybe I could, but I want to read some of those other books I've shown you so far. And so I thought that was kind of cool and interesting. It was like a sign that I should buy it, so I got it. And then I have two 1920 books set in the 1920s. This is a modern one called Everybody Was So Young, and takes place in Paris, of course. Oh, wait, and this is actually a memoir biography, too. Ooh. Well, I'm set with nonfiction. Gerald Murphy and his wife Sarah, they were the center of the, literary world, so think Fitzgerald and Gertrude Stein, all those guys, and Hemingway and all them. And I wonder if they knew Hemingway, because I know he was in France with his first wife. Ooh, and Cole Porter. Oh, and the couple in this story inspired the couple that are the couple in Tender Is the Night. So I didn't realize this was also a biography and memoir. That's cool. So I got a lot of nonfiction. I really do think that with nonfiction it depends. I think you can get more into nonfiction if you pick the right nonfiction works and pick something that you're interested in. I think that's how it is with any genre. I mean, I don't remember which booktuber said this, but I remember there was a booktuber saying in one of their videos that they feel like with genres, which is nonfiction really a genre, I don't know, but that, you say you don't like a genre, but then sometimes it just takes that one book to get you into that genre. And there are, again, I've said before I don't read romance, but there are some romance books that I do enjoy, like Jane Austen's works, Gone with the Wind. I like classics. I remember, Fool's Paradise by Tori Phillips. That's one that Terry gave me to read. I did enjoy that one. There have been some I'm not totally against. I just don't like it when people, tell me I should read something, or at least directly tell me that I should read something. I prefer to decide on my own if I'm gonna read it. And so I feel like it just depends on me. Terry herself has said she has no interest in YA, but she likes the books about Padme and Queen Amidala / Padme, and that's YA. So, I think it just depends. It takes the right book to get you interested in it. And the other book that I have that I was trying to remember, let me see if I can. Is this one. It's by Claude McKay. It's Romance in Marseille. Oh, that rhymes. Marseille, McKay. I'm such a dork. It's basically a group of characters, dock workers, prostitutes, political organizers, collectively straight and queer. So it has some LGBTQ rep in this one. Disabled and able-bodied, African, European, Caribbean, and American. And it's set during the Jazz Age. As soon as I found out it was the 20s, I was like, oh, I need to get this. I was looking for classics and You know, trying not to get ones that and this one sounded really interesting, and so it's the pioneering novel of physical disability, transatlantic travel, black modernism, and one of the earliest overtly queer fictions in the African American tradition. So I'm curious if this. I mean, it's an older book, so, but I feel like I almost need to read this. I just want to read this now. Although that always happens to me when I look at books I just bought, I want to read them right that second. But yeah, that's kind of cool. I didn't mean for that to happen. That, I just liked it because it was about the 20s, and it was set in Marseille in France. So that's the only reason why it caught my eye. In the first place was because of the setting. But now I'm even more intrigued. And then I finally got one of my thrift books orders, which it was not in the condition I was expecting. Or I shouldn't say condition, I should say type or version of the book. So I was expecting it to be a big, hardback, typical hardback book, but actually it's in this size. It looks like a mass market paperback, but it's a hardback book, but with no dust jacket. Still the pretty cover. This is one of Jean's, I think it's on Jean from Bookish Thoughts' list of favorites. This is a Pride and Prejudice retelling with dragons, and they are dragons. I wasn't sure if they had dragons or if they were dragons, but according to the description, they are dragons. It says, everyone in this tale is a dragon, and everyone in the tale is a dragon, red in tooth and claw. And I just thought, Jean keeps talking about how great this book is, so I finally decided to order it. Like, I put it on my Amazon wish list, but I finally was like, I'm gonna actually buy it myself. And this is just the size, the physicalness of this book is kind of adorable. I wasn't expecting it to be this physical size, but it's, I'm okay with it. Like, so far it's never been like too much. I got Anna Karenina had like on the spine was a little torn a little bit, but it was just there. That was the only place where it was kind of messed up a little bit. Other than that, and that might have been when it was in transit. So as long as it's not a super bad condition, and if I wasn't too particular about if it's about the edition I want, like with Anna Karenina and Hard Times and A Christmas Carol, I wanted a certain edition for those, and I was, and I ended up getting them. Those are the ones I got, so I was happy about that. But this one was just more like I wasn't expecting. This was not on my rate. This was not on my mind. I did not expect it to look like this. But it's not bad though. But it doesn't look bad. It's adorable. It's kind of cute. And I don't have to worry about a dust jacket. It kind of, although that one might be bigger, but it looks like the size of My Sister the Serial Killer. Although that one might be a little bit, or at least taller. That one might be taller. I would have to compare the two. But it's kind of cute, and I don't have to worry about a dust jacket, and I'm thinking about, this is another one I'm thinking about, 'Tis the Season-a-thon. So let me talk about that a little bit. So 'Tis the Season-a-thon, like I said, I think the host is Heather from Bookables. I'm probably not gonna do the challenges, but there is the bingo board. And that one, I'm not big on reading like Christmas holiday type books. Like a lot of those are romance, and like I said, I'm not a big romance reader, so I have no interest in those. Like the only holiday-esque book that the closest to holiday books I'm gonna read for that readathon is not that one. The only one that's actual holiday I'm gonna read is A Christmas Carol by Dickens. That's the closest I'm gonna read, but I was already planning on reading that in December anyway. And I was also very happy that this includes the chimes and the Haunted Man in this edition as well. And I like that the pages are like a dark purple. I think that's kind of cool. So I'm gonna read this in December, of course. But other than that, I'm not really reading anything that's Christmassy. But I think I'm gonna have better luck with the bingo board than the other one. But let's see, bingo board. So like with the bingo board, there's a lot of the prompts to get bingo are actually, they're prompts I can do without it being a Christmas book. Like there's some of them that are clearly, to do that prompt, you probably need to read a holiday book. Like there's prompts that either read a book that's either red or green on the cover. So I'm thinking, like I said, thinking about Tooth and Claw. And this is also another book I was planning to read is this one, Once Upon a River. I already planned on reading that. And this has green plants on it. So I thought I would read this one. I'm gonna read this one also for green. Like I said, I do have a holiday related book, and that's Christmas Carol. And then there's prompts like Found Family prompt, so I might read like one of Dickens' other works, like Bleak House, or I need to read the Pickle Papers. Pickle Papers continue with that. I need to continue with that one, and that one I might read for January. I might save that for January and not get back to that one. And just read Bleak House in December, which that's kind of what I planned on doing originally before I decided to do this readathon. Read a book that someone else recommends. Read a Christmas classic. That's Christmas Carol. There's, of course, a free space in the middle. Book you received as a gift. Book with lights on the cover. I don't know if I would find that one. Read a short book, 250 pages or less. I don't know about that one. Read a cozy read. Read a new to you author. Bake your favorite holiday treat. I don't know if I'll do that. So there's like a lot of prompts that I could read any book as long as they apply to that. If they have whatever the prompt is. There's also like reading, and I'm not gonna read the group book. There's also prompts like watching a holiday movie. So I have no problem with that because I just bought this movie, and then I have and this is the Platinum Anniversary Edition. In case you don't know, this is a Christmas classic, A Wonderful Life, about this guy named George Bailey, and he makes a lot of sacrifices. He has big dreams of leaving this town of Bedford Falls, but things happen in his life that he ends up taking a different route, and he's forced to make a lot of sacrifices. He ends up running the family bank. Then something happens, and his life starts to fall apart. And then he contemplates suicide because he feels like the world is better off without him. But then his guardian angel shows up and shows him what the world would be like without George Bailey. Of course, I have The Grinch, the live action one with Jim Carrey. I have The Man Who Invented Christmas. I have been waiting to watch that movie until now, which is about how Dickens wrote Christmas Carol. And then there's Elf, and I do have what's that movie called? Love Actually, but I don't watch that one that much anymore. And there was a video on The Take, a YouTube channel that kind of analyzes pop culture, and I realized and it pointed out some problematic elements about that movie. And once ideas like that get in my head, then so I might give that to my sister, especially if they're able to come in December. Well, it'll depend on what's going to happen in a month with this pandemic and everything. Because of course, because she has my niece and nephews are little, they're toddlers, so I'm gonna watch this one or The Grinch or Elf, And there's also, of course, Hallmark. I love Hallmark Countdown to Christmas. That's the only time I won't watch Hallmark movies, is Countdown to Christmas. So I guess that's really all I'm gonna talk to you guys about. I do need to get back downstairs too, because I have a pumpkin spice latte waiting for me. It's probably cold now. So let's see if I can do this will work with my thumbnail. Okay, let's use these. Put these in the thumbnail. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Let's see if I can do this.